have no idea what he said. Was it okay?
Very pleasant things.
He was like, this guy is a joke. Don't listen to him. So my name is Kubby. I'm Canadian, but I'm living in Copenhagen, Denmark. Does everyone know Copenhagen? Great. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a digital marketer. I have my own digital agency, and I'm kind of into video marketing. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about that. But first, like, who do we have out here? Are you guys mostly from, who's from like a startup? Oh, okay. How many people are like working for a brand in marketing? Most of you guys, you're my people. And how many people are from like an agency? A couple of people. Okay, great. So this gives me a good idea. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly a show reel from my agency so you guys can know like I'm not full of crap. I actually know what I'm talking about when it comes to video marketing. And so I'll just run this really quickly and you guys can take a look at it and I can kill 2 or 3 minutes. Or not.
I mean, you asked. It's impressive.
United, there is little we cannot do. Divided, there is little we can do.
Okay, so that just briefly shows you we do a ton of video. We do a lot of social video. We do a lot of video for YouTube. We do television commercials. We're really into video. Who's into video? You guys like video? That's good. So I'm here to talk about something that we're seeing, I guess we've seen in the industry that has changed a lot of stuff, and it actually has to do with porn. How many people here watch porn? You guys are much more honest than most people. Most people are like, no. So I like you guys. Some of you are liars, big time liars, but that's okay. I like you people. And the reason why I want to talk about this is the changes that we see in video on the pornography side are very much like the changes we've seen on the video marketing side. We've kind of gone to this. Very specific, very niche, very much about search, very much about giving people what they want right away. And I have a clip of this particular one here. Oh, the internet's a bit slow here. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Did you guys actually think I was going to show you porn? You guys are nasty, nasty, nasty people. So I'm not going to show you porn. But I think what's interesting in porn is that we've gone from this, Debbie Does Dallas, to something else. And it's actually fundamentally destroyed the porn industry. I know you guys are really upset about it. But we've foregone the storylines, we've foregone the big productions, we've gotten rid of sort of all the glitz and the glamour, and it's gone from, you know, that to basically search-based, give me the action, give me what I want. And this is the same across most video things. This is why Snapchat is in 10-second increments. This is why we have GIFs. This is why we have Instagram videos at 1 minute, Instagram stories at 15 seconds. We want the action right away. So brands, we've seen brands are producing Debbie Does Dallas, and they should be producing something else. A lot of brands will do nice, I would say, television commercials for YouTube, and they'll run pre-roll and expect that that's going to give them the results that they want. But it's not the case. So they have to do something different. What is that exactly? I'm going to get into that. But before I do, I want to make sure you guys understand what we're talking about here. This is an extremely interesting stat, at least for me, and I think it holds true. Who knows where these stats come from? I obviously have a source, but there's a lot of stats that are thrown around, but I actually think this might be true. So 82% of IP traffic by 2021 will be video. More specifically, will be mobile video. Now, this is a staggering number. If you're doing marketing today, and probably will be doing in 2021, you have to be looking at this and going, if this is the content that people are consuming, what should we be doing instead? And I'm not saying we should dismiss blog posts or any of that kind of stuff, or television commercials or advertising or any of those sort of things. I'm just saying that video is a massive part of the mix, and we need to start moving to that extremely quick. And the truth is that video is everywhere. We can see it in all of these platforms. YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Musical.ly. How many people know Musical.ly? Have experimented? How many people have tried it out? You got to get into it. I'm finding that marketers were a little bit afraid of getting into the new stuff, which is strange because we're supposed to be a big innovation hub within companies. So we need to get into these things earlier. If you're not on Musical.ly, please go check it out right now. I think the new apps are actually kind of a barometer for what's going on in the culture, what's going on with specifically the youth culture. So if you're not tapping into these things early, you're going to miss the boat. So I urge you guys all, go check out what's on Musical.ly. Even from like a editing standpoint, how are people editing videos? How are they producing them? What's popular? Those things, it's a really good social barometer for what's happening, and everybody will be talking about it in 24 months, this thing or that thing, because the youth have already sort of gotten into it. So, and we even see that in LinkedIn today. How many people have LinkedIn video? Yeah, how many people are using it? A number of you guys. Okay, so you got to get into these things, try these tools out. I think it's incredible. Actually, I had a conversation with Brian here, I think 2 years ago, and he said, LinkedIn is a little far from video, but they'll get there. Do you remember that conversation? And sure enough, 2 years later, they're dropping video. And so we really have to take a hard look at that, because today our customers are really this. This is our customers. How many people have done this? I know I have a number of times. And the truth is, we're just not qualified to handle this. We're a little behind the times. So I'm here to try to get you guys up to speed, because we're going through something incredible right now, and I say that it's a big shift, and shift happens. It's a play on shit happens, because of some interesting dynamics. And one of the things that really sort of puts a fine point on it is this. Does anybody remember seeing this Snapchat filter? Now, Snapchat's gone through a little bit of hard times. Instagram Stories has been stealing their thunder, but I still think that Snapchat's got a really good place in the marketing mix, especially for the younger crowd. But this Snapchat filter at the Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl, 2015 or 16, I forget, I think it was 16, it did 160 million views of this Snapchat filter. Can anybody guess how many people watched the Super Bowl that year? Don't shout it all at once, guys. How much? 1 million? No, north. I mean, in the States, there's good. How much? 50 millions? A little more? 300, no. Let's go back down. 115 million. So in other words, the Snapchat filter got more views than the actual Super Bowl. Let that sink in for a second. The Snapchat filter was seen more than the Super Bowl. That's crazy. That hasn't happened in history. That's nuts. And so we really have to get into this game. And I think most of us think that our video marketing is like this. It's banging. We're doing the best video marketing ever. When in actuality, our video marketing is a little like this. Can anybody relate? So we got to get into the game. One of the core places that I think is really interesting for video right now is this bad boy right here. Instagram Stories is killing it. Instagram in general for video is killing it. They're doing a great job with their product, and they're actually taking market share from Snapchat. So if you're spending time on Instagram, much like I said with Musical.ly, you will get a really good sense of what's going on in video in general. I think that Instagram is the new king of video. How many people actually, you know what, even further to this, has anybody experienced anything on Twitch? Anybody seeing what's going on with Twitch? Twitch is incredible. I'll come back to that as well. I think they're going to give YouTube a run for their money here. So yeah. Where's my slides there? So I want to get your guys' video marketing going like this, so you guys don't feel like this. And there's 4 core areas that I think we need to work on. I call them the 4 ables. Is it searchable? Is it clickable? Is it enjoyable? And is it shareable? These are the 4 areas that I'm going to talk to you guys today about and how to get you guys beefed up in this area. So YouTube search. I mean, essentially YouTube is a giant search engine. If you spend enough time in there looking at the data, you can actually do a lot more from a search perspective than I think that you can in actually Google. If you know how the algorithm works, you know what the pieces of YouTube are looking for in order to rank your videos higher. So for example, if you're going to search for how to put on lipstick, you know, what videos come up, how can you rank? We actually, in our agency, we have a fairly large German cosmetics company that we're doing YouTube for. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing from a strategy standpoint is actually looking at search data and saying, okay, if we wanted to rank for how to put on lipstick, can we actually do that? So before we press record, before we even produce a script, before we even talk about what we're going to do from a video perspective, we go into search data and say, okay, can we actually be competitive on this? And we use a tool called TubeBuddy. Anybody familiar with that? TubeBuddy? A few people. It's a great analytics tool, great search data tool for YouTube. It'll give you some good insights. And we check to see, can we actually rank in search for the keywords we think we can? Most of the cases we can't. Most of the cases, I mean, how to put on lipstick. Every influencer, every makeup artist has already crushed that space. It's going to be very hard. Unless I'm a brand with like 3 million subscribers and can pull in 1 million views within a short period of time, it's going to be extremely hard. I can't even pay for that. I mean, I can do as much pre-roll as I want. If I don't get the engagement like an influencer, if I don't get the comments, the likes, the shares, it's just not going to happen for me. So before we even press record, before we even do anything in the video side, we're checking this. And we can see that overall the competition for this, search volume is good. Competition is horrible. Do we think we want to make a video for how to put on lipstick? Probably not. So instead we say, okay, what about these related terms? Let's check this. How to put on lipstick like a pro. How to put on lipstick for beginners. I could use that. How to put on lipstick without lip liner. How to put on lipstick for black women. All that kind of stuff. So we look at, can we rank for those instead? And this is a fundamentally different approach to how we produce video because it's from a data perspective first. And I think we need to get into that game. Some of the things you guys can do on the YouTube side is we're finding from a data perspective 9 to 15 minutes is a sweet spot for YouTube videos. Front load the keywords, meaning like if you wanted to rank for something in lipstick, or if you wanted to rank for something in, say, Instagram, like I want to do a video about Instagram. If I want to do that, I would front load the keywords into the title and in the description. So it would maybe be Instagram marketing, how to crush it in 2018. That would probably be the title. And then the description, I would also put Instagram as my first words. I would put in as much keywords as I can without swamping the description. Does everyone understand that? Titles and descriptions in YouTube. My tags, my first tags actually would be related to my keyword. So instead of, I mean, a lot of brands will go out and say, we got to put our brand name as the first tag. Nah. It could be in there. It could be like the third or the fourth. But if you want to rank for how to put on lipstick, or if you want to rank for something in this, in whatever it is, then you got to put that tag first and do your tag research. Multiple language and captions. This is actually a really cool tool within YouTube. You can load up different titles and different descriptions in every language. So if you had a product that was worldwide, I don't see why you would not spend the time to translate all your titles and your descriptions and your captions, because there's a giant market out there that is beyond English or Polish or German or whatever it is. So make sure you're doing that. Break longer videos into parts. This is something that we're also seeing in the data. So when we have, like, say for example, they're going to record this talk. It's going to be 40 minutes long, hopefully, unless I go longer. No, I won't. I'm just kidding. So this is going to be 40 minutes long. If I was going to do this properly, I would actually break this into 3 parts. Why would I do that? 1, it gives me more content. Most people will not sit and watch a 40-minute video. 2, because there's going to be a part 1, a part 2, a part 3, a part 4, whatever it is, most people will actually watch the thing, go through the series. And why that's important is because YouTube is going to see that people are consuming content on the channel in succession and continue to watch more of the channel's content. This is going to tell YouTube that, hey, beef up this channel, beef up this content on this channel into the algorithm and get them in the feeds, because people are enjoying content from this channel. Does everyone understand this? You guys are quiet. You guys are all hungover. Not yet. I like this person. Okay, so attention spans are at an all-time low. Many people have said this. So I want to try to dispel this a little bit to help you guys do better video marketing. Does everyone believe that attention spans are at an all-time low? Who believes this? Not many of you, okay. How many binge watch Netflix? So, how low is our attention spans? If we can be up till 4 a.m. doing this shit right here, how low are our attention spans? I don't believe it. I think our attention spans are low for crap content. I think we can all agree on that. If the content sucks, we have no attention for it. But we can sit and watch Game of Thrones for like 5 hours and wonder where the time went. So instead, I think what we need to look at for different types of video, we need to look at sort of a story arc. This is a great example of where we are. So we call this a passive environment story arc, and we call this an active video story arc. Most custom creatives for different social platforms will sit in this zone. It's eye-catching, it's bold, it's grabbing your brand in subtle ways, getting it in early, not like, you know, how many people are still putting their logo at the front of videos? That's horrible. It's really about getting people into the story. Remember my porn talk? It's getting people into busty Asians who like mustaches much earlier. Subtle branding cues, the mustaches, of course. Big reveal, whatever you want to call that. And then quick cuts to awaken the senses. This is what we're seeing when we look at the data on the social video side. This is great for series, for television, for longer pieces of editorial content, which I'm not opposed to. I love longer pieces of video content. I love stuff that has a story arc. I love when brands say, we're going to do content marketing in a series. We're going to do something that's a little bit longer lasting. But you've got to have these story arcs in every episode. You've got to think about this. And if you can combine the two in a special way, which can be done, you've got a real winner on your hands. Does everyone understand that? No, good. You have to, the next part of this is you have to stop the scroll. This is how I scroll, at least, from this side. What kind of content are you watching, Kubby? We have too much content. I'm just going to say it. There's too much content. I mean, there's just so much. Everybody's producing. You guys are producing. I'm producing. Television companies are producing. HBO, AMC, Netflix. Everybody's producing content now. We're all walking around with probably the greatest piece of technology that's ever been built, and we can record and take pictures and write and do whatever we want at any time during the day, and this is evident, right? So you have to work on how do we stop people in the scroll, because that's what they're doing. They're just going through. So it's got to be bold. It's got to be creative. It's got to tell me right away what I'm going to get. Here is prime examples. Would you spend $18.95 on this jacket? What jacket? I have to see this. I have to understand, like, is this a crappy jacket? Is this a nice jacket? What is this? This is Instagram, by the way. This is the world you're living in as marketers, as digital marketers. And I find, like, as digital marketers, we want to sort of roll our eyes at this and go, oh, this is clickbait crap. And it is. But you have to understand, this is what gets attention. So we have to think about, do we want to reminisce about how it used to be and how we want it to be? Or do we play our own game and make sure that we're using this to our advantage? I would like that. I would like to look at this and say, you know what, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and I'm going to crush it for the brands I work with. I'm going to do it in my own way. I'm not going to do clickbait, but I'm definitely going to take a look at this and say, okay, how do I do this for my brands? And so you also have like stuff like, do you agree with him? What did this pomegranate ever do to her? You know, like, just straight, this cop couldn't hold it in, ha, ha, ha. Like, this is the sort of world we're living in. Here's another sort of example of some really great branded content. It's powerful, it's bold, it's using color, it's a small, simple thing. Like, this is super easy to execute. But this is what gets more attention. So, like I said, be bold, use text, captions, colors. People are just, it's so weird. People don't put sound on their phone. People want to read text. But that's the way it is. The first 3 seconds matter. How are you grabbing attention? How are you stopping me in my scroll? And how are you continuing to keep my attention? These are really important. And actually, one that I should add to this list, actually, maybe it'll come later. I forget my own presentations, apparently, is that it has to work here. Everyone's editing videos on big screens. Everyone's doing their design on big screens. They don't realize that this is where people consume content. So it has to work here. That means subtle little text that people and little design cues and things like that, it doesn't work anymore, people. I wish it did. But you literally have to, like, grab them. Here's an example. So this is just from a talk I gave, I think, last year. And it sort of takes all of these things and puts them into play. I feel like advertising is a little like this. When I go to my wife and I say, hey, honey, you want to have sex? The chances of conversion are very low. Very fucking low. Like, very low. But if I come with this, if I come with some flowers, I get a little bit closer. If I come with a cupcake, I'm getting really close now. If I put on some berry white, things are probably going to happen. So I really think about brands need to get into this zone, because I think a lot of brands are doing, hey, honey, you want to have sex? And the instant answer is no. Specifically for the younger generation as well. They smell bullshit from a mile away. They're used to advertising. They're used to being bombarded with messages. you know, you got to get away from that. You got to get above the noise. And some of the ways you could do that is being very smart about advertising, communicating, and marketing on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever those platforms are, new ones that are coming up as well. So that's a prime example, right? We have bold text, bold use of color, bold execution, subtitles. This is the kind of stuff that people are consuming in social media specifically. Another prime example is, for example, thumbnails on YouTube. So, I mean, this is on a big ass screen, so it's a bit different to see, but most of this will be shown here, right? People on your YouTube app. So when you're designing thumbnails or you're thinking about how do we grab attention, and thumbnails are across the board. It's in Instagram, so this doesn't just apply to YouTube. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. Your video thumbnails are really key because it's sometimes the first thing that people see. So think about how do we entice them super early and get them to continue watching and not scroll past us. So thumbnails with text, thumbnails need to stand out. Now, here's another little hack I have for you guys on the video side. I think Brian here will agree with me on this. What is, in my opinion, quality rarely matters on the content side. I know it's hard to say. Like, we have a huge video production side of our business, and we spend a lot of money on cameras, on lights, and sound, and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But when we look at social data, we can see that quality rarely matters. So I often ask people, like, what is quality content? Can I ask you guys, like, what do you think quality content is? Does anybody know? Take a guess. What's that? Sorry, I missed it. Game of Thrones is quality content. Why? It's expensive. Okay. They do it well. Here's the thing. A lot of what? A lot of boobs. Okay. He's still in the porn conversation I was having. Good storytelling. I like that. That's a good point. Here's the thing. Quality content is content that works. You can spend a year making an episode of Game of Thrones. If nobody gives a crap about it, nobody watches it, nobody shares it, nobody tells their friends about it, is that quality? No. And this is the problem that I'm finding in video marketing. A lot of people are getting hung up on the quality side instead of figuring out what actually works. I've done it myself. I've spent like months on a piece of content that I thought was gonna be insanely awesome. We thought this thing is gonna kill it for the client. They're gonna make sales, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. Nothing. But it's quality content. No, doesn't work. I'm much more interested in lowering the quality, finding out what works in small iterations, getting better and better and better and better, and building, versus spending a huge amount of cash on something that we have no idea if this thing is going to work. And that's the reality of social media and video marketing today. We can spend a ton of money, or we can figure out what works. We can do both, but you have to have that in your strategy. One of the things that's interesting about lowering the quality is people are actually, they distrust marketers. Why? I don't know why. Probably because a lot of scam artists out there. But people distrust marketing. People are scared to death of ads. How many people like scroll past sponsored stuff on Facebook like it's the plague? I know I do. How many people actually click on Facebook ads? How many people run Facebook ads? We hate advertising ourselves, but we run it. I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's a bit hard. I do love advertising. But the reason why, if you lower the quality, if it's timely, if it's shot today, if it's shot with this thing here, people think it's timely. People think, oh, you know what? This is something that I can see that's, I'm not missing out on something. This is something that just happened. It's one of the reasons why going live has gone really well. Now, Facebook is actually lowering their focus on this particular product, but others are not. Twitch is a prime example. Like, Twitch is crazy. Kids will watch another person play a video game for 3 hours. Attention spans are at an all-time low? I don't think so. This is what's going on. So going live is incredibly powerful, and you don't even need to make your content. You can like do Ask Me Anythings, taking questions from the audience, engaging with them, doing Q&As, doing events. This is a prime example here where, you know, just streaming this whole entire conference in a good way, in a smart way, and figuring out what people will be interested in and keeping it going can be a smart way of creating content without actually having to, you know, create the content. Because all business is show business, people. We're finding this in the marketing game. It's super funny. And a lot of people want to get into this sort of, you know, doing what Netflix is doing or doing what Game of Thrones is doing. And it comes down to actually thinking about your business like show business. But I want to warn you guys, there's a super pitfall here. And I'm a little upset because platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all these guys, they're lying to you. As marketers, they actually want to make you a worse marketer, which is like, okay, why? Why are you doing this? So they're inflating our view numbers. They're actually saying like, hey, here's a prime example. LinkedIn's telling me, you have 892 views of your video. Man, I feel good. I'm crushing it. Those are 3-second views. It won't even tell me how many are 10-second, 30-second, 1 minute. They have the data. If they can tell me 3 seconds, they can tell me how many people have saw the full thing. But they don't. And do you know why? Because they're fucking with you. They want you to look at this number and think you're doing well. Don't get stuck in that trap. We're also seeing a trend towards longer videos on Facebook and YouTube. They're trying to compete with the likes of Twitch. They're seeing that coming up. So actually you can, I think it's 120 minutes length video on YouTube or on Facebook now. And why would Facebook want longer videos on their platform? Anybody take a guess? What? Make what? Compete with YouTube. Yeah, but why compete with YouTube? What's YouTube got that Facebook doesn't have on their videos? Ads. I like this guy. Ads. Facebook wants to sell more advertising. Facebook traditionally has been 30 to 90-second videos. That's what's performed well on the platform. Could you imagine running a 15-second ad in a 30-second video? A lot of people would be upset, right? So what they're doing is they're saying, we want longer videos on our platform. So if you're actually producing video content and it's longer, put it on Facebook, because Facebook is actually going to give you a bump. They're going to give you more opportunities to get into news feeds and things like that, and the suggested video feed, because you're producing longer video, which then primes their audience for watching longer videos, which then allows them to slowly start to slip in their mid-roll product, which we're already seeing rolling out in a lot of ways. One of the other big trends is GIFs. I love this trend because marketers will we'll all roll our eyes at this and be like, GIFs? Are you serious? Like, do we really need to be doing GIFs? Like, what's the next marketing shiny tool? But the truth of this is this, and this data is staggering to me. Giphy, the largest GIF search engine in the world, has 300 million daily users and 1 billion GIFs served a day. Here's your opportunity as a brand. If some of you have worked for a brand long enough, you've probably heard in the hallways, oh man, I wish we were doing Facebook 10 years ago. I wish we would have saw YouTube 10 years ago. I wish we would have done this 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever. This is early ground still. You can get in here. It's essentially a search engine. And brands are already taking a look at this. Nike's already taking a look at this. A lot of brands are already in this. This will become an extremely popular search engine. It already is an extreme. I mean, it's so funny. We talk about these things in billion numbers now, but 300 million daily users. I remember when apps got this, they were like the best app in the world, but this is still under the radar in some senses. And everything you guys do has to work here. This is how I Tinder. I don't Tinder, I'm married. And another thing you guys can do is, which is very strange, a lot of people will not believe me on this, but the data is quite clear, is vertical video. Everybody wants to, of course, brands, they want to shoot like this, which is fine, the camera, nice, everything's that. But it's crazy how well vertical video performs. So in a study done on Facebook vertical video, they found that vertical video managed to reach 58% more people than horizontal videos. Horizontal video ads, which get less exposure based on that, are 63.5% more expensive than vertical video ads. That's pretty staggering. That's an interesting number. And why is that? Because most people are holding their phones like this. Most apps are run like this now. So when you're consuming content, you're more likely to click and engage with it if it's vertical. It also takes up more of the screen here when you're just like going through. On the other side, we also have vertical video gets 28.5% more post reactions than horizontal. And vertical also gets 39% more shares. So vertical video, people, is the future. Start producing vertical video. You also get a little bit more, I would say, you can milk it more because you can put it on Snapchat, you can put it on Instagram stories, you can put it on Facebook stories. You have a little bit more leeway with it. You can cut it into different parts. Here's some examples of vertical video that are pretty cool. That's pretty nice, right? Here's another one real quick. All right. So let's talk about one quick tactic here to get you guys in the game. I call this the spoker strategy. It's the hub and spoke mixed with poker. How many people play poker? Great. So in poker, you guys, this is perfect. You guys are the best audience ever. You guys know all this shit. I don't really need this. I could just like let this thing run on its own. The poker strategy is basically this. Like when you play poker, you get a lot of hands. Some are dog shit. Some are really great, right? The ones that are dog shit, you want to throw away. This is like content. I tell people you don't know what's going to work until you hit publish, right? I mean, nobody can say like what's going to work on social media or in vertical video or video in general until you actually like publish it out. So you play a lot of hands. You have a lot of content. We have this blog post, we have this thing, we have that thing. And the ones that don't do well, you fold. The ones that do well, you throw money into. It's essentially how poker works, unless you're bluffing. And so with video and a spoker strategy, this is how we approach it. We say we take video as our core element, and then we milk the hell out of it. We do a blog post from it. We transcribe it. We do a blog post. We can cut it up and put it out on Snapchat. We can take out the audio and run it as a podcast. We can use the video on LinkedIn now. We can use the video. We can take GIFs from it. We can use funny GIFs out of it. We can make it, of course, use it for YouTube. We can, of course, use it for Facebook. We can do Instagram. We can do Instagram stories with it. It's a cornerstone of our marketing. We can do internal videos. I mean, anybody who's working for a large company have just probably seen internal videos explode. So we can really milk the content. We can really take video and just say, let's spread it to everything. Actually, speaking of video, can you guys do a video with me here? Can you guys look like I've entertained you? Is that possible? Are you ready? Okay, everybody look like I did something cool here. See, vertical video, guys. Vertical video. I'm going to save that for later. Here's an example. Like, we recorded this. I'm only using examples of myself, not clients. But here's a prime example. We did a YouTube video, then we cut it up in vertical video.
That will emerge. The ideal customer right now is the ones that pay you money.
This is for Instagram
That's
stories.
The ideal customer. And then you can start to figure out who is it that we work best with. Using your current network, who do you know currently that you can sell to? Don't think too much about like who's the ideal customer.
I'm wearing the exact same clothes. Isn't that awesome? Maybe I should buy some new wardrobe here.
I believe that.
So let's skip all this. So basically, it's very simple. YouTube video, cut it up. Take the audio out, use it as a podcast. Transcribe it for a blog. Do an Instagram story thing out of it. Do an Instagram regular post out of it. Put it on Facebook. Put it on LinkedIn. Like the options here are so incredible, right? The other hack I have for you guys, which is kind of interesting, is we're seeing the suggested video feed in Facebook working extremely well right now. So if you guys are having problems getting organic reach, no worries, you're in the same boat as all of us. One of the things that we're doing is when people are actually watching video in the Facebook video feed, advertising here is actually working much better because people are already in a video watching mood. On the news feed, just like Facebook is trying to prime everybody for family, friends, photos, status updates, it's hard to break into that. This is working much, much better because people are in a viewing mood. Last sort of tip I have for you guys is think like Hollywood. What do I mean by that? So, Hollywood does this. They find something that works, and they milk it till it is dead. How many saw Transformers 9 or whatever we're up to, right? Marvel movies are prime example, horror movies. I mean, essentially what they found is here, this core concept works. We're going to milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it. Does everyone understand that? I think they're kicking me off here. I talk too much. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Chris. Woo! Oh, Rick.